absorbed at depth, right? That's our pressure group. Does that make sense? Right? It means that, that at that depth, we are at the corresponding pressure is that corresponding absorption of nitrogen that our body is experiencing, right? Okay, and if we're doing repetitive dives, which we are almost always doing as divers, right? We are very rarely going on a gorgeous vacation to Fiji and doing one dive a day, right? We're going on a gorgeous vacation to Fiji. We want to do as many dives a day as is humanly possible, right? As is literally physically, humanly possible. We are going to need to stay well within the limits of this table. So what's this side of the table going to tell us? Say that again, say that super loud.
How long do you have to stay out of the water so that you can off gas the way to go back down?
Yes, how long we can safely stay out of the water right now. I mean, listen, we can play it super safe and stay out of the water 12 hours at a time, but that's gonna make our vacation really long, and I don't know about y'all's lives, but like my boss doesn't let me take a month at a time. It just doesn't work like that, right? So I would like to get as much diving in as is humanly possible in the shortest amount of time as is humanly possible, right? Okay, so we need to factor in this side of the table. So what does this side of the table tell us? What does this side of the table tell us? Ooh, a lot of blank stares. Somebody remind me what this is. Residual nitrogen time. What is residual nitrogen time? Are you sure? Okay, residual nitrogen time is the amount of time your body has with that nitrogen still inside it, okay? So the residual nitrogen time is your body still having that nitrogen from your previous dive, right? Okay. What does this mean?
Total bottom time.
Total bottom time, right? Okay, excellent. And how does this differ from this? So what is your actual bottom time? Your actual bottom time is how long you are actually underwater, right? I'm diving to 90 feet for 45 minutes. How long is my actual bottom time? 90 feet for 45 minutes. What's my actual bottom time? 90 feet for 45 minutes. What's my actual bottom time? 45 minutes. However, my total bottom time is going to be dependent on what? On my residual nitrogen time, right? So when I go diving, I want to make sure that when I calculate the nitrogen that remains in my system, I want to make sure that I'm not looking at my actual bottom time, that I'm looking at my residual nitrogen time plus my actual bottom time, which is going to give me my total bottom time, right? So, residual nitrogen time plus actual bottom time gives me my total bottom time. You are always looking for the rat. Remember, if you forget this, your cheat sheet is where? On the back of your dive table, right? Okay, so on the final, you guys are gonna have some epic dive questions. Now, remember last week, we were talking about a couple things. Let's review some rules of diving. It's the number one rule of scuba diving. Never hold your breath, right? What's the second rule of scuba diving? Always dive with a buddy, right? And what should you and your buddy do? Hey, yo, it's a Monday. I got the day off. Let's go diving. Awesome, I got a tank. We're gonna go diving. It's the next thing that you do. Show up at the dock and just jump off. Plan your dive and check your equipment, but plan your dive and dive your plan. Okay, so let's plan a dive, right? I got the day off. You got the day off. We got some extra cash. Let's go diving. So K-Star is going to take you guys on a dive. Okay, so we are going to start. What's our pressure group up here? What does our pressure group start with? Nothing, right? We are not at any pressure, right? We are at our normal amount of pressure. Okay, so our first group, we're going deep. We are going 90 feet. And we're going for 20 minutes. What is our pressure group on the other side? How do we do this? We find 90 feet, right? And we find 20 minutes. Can we find 20 minutes?
No.
What do we have to find? 21. So what's our pressure group? M, right? M is in Mary. Okay. Oh, that was a really nice dive. Oh, that was such a nice dive. Are we gonna do another 90-foot dive?
No.
We really, really want to, okay? Let's say that this was a dive where we were diving what's called a wall, okay? When you're diving a wall, you start out at a shallow height and the wall literally drops to a very deep height. So let's say that we started out at 90 feet. Maybe the second dive we decide to do 60 feet, okay? So we're gonna decide to do the next dive 60 feet. What is, let's say that we wanna do our next dive and we wanna stay down for 30 minutes. What pressure group do we need to be to go back in to do this safely? So we need to calculate two things. What do we need to calculate? Our surface interval, right, which is how long we have to stay out for, our surface interval in order to find our pressure group, right? Let's do this together. Sound good? Y'all want to do this by yourself? Let's do this together. So, we know that our pressure group on the outside is M, right? Okay, so we know that 60 feet, 30 minutes, right? Awesome. What's the first thing we're gonna have to calculate? What's the first thing we have to find out? We have to find out our residual nitrogen time. That's the first thing we have to find out, right? That's not gonna change no matter what. So let's figure out our residual nitrogen time, yeah? I'm gonna give us ourselves some room over here. Okay. So, we went in for 90 feet, we're at M, we're here, right? And our next dive we want to do is going to be to 60 feet. How do we figure out our residual nitrogen time?
We find out what our new pressure group is, and then we find that up on the top here, and go to 60 feet.
So what's in our little box?
60 feet. Our new pressure group is H. So
Do you want to walk us through how you did that, Diana? Walk us through how you did that.
Oh, I'm sorry. So at the surface interval, I went from M over to 30 minutes.
How'd you get the 30 minutes? You just...
The 30 minutes.
Okay, so the 30 minutes, this is our dive time. So if it was our surface interval, I'd put the number up here, yeah? Okay? Okay, right. So what we're trying to figure out is we're trying to figure out what our pressure group would be, what our residual nitrogen time would be after our 90-foot dive with no surface interval. So, we're here, right? We did our 90-foot dive, we're at pressure group M, okay? So, we're in pressure group M, right? We're in pressure group M, okay? We did a 90-foot dive. Let's see where these intersect. What's our number?
21.
21 over 4. So what does that mean?
Residual nitrogen is 21.
Okay, our residual nitrogen time is 21, and what's the 4?
Actual bottom time.
What's the 4? I'm literally gonna read this off the dive table, so I'm super mad at you all right now. Blue area indicates adjusted maximum no decompression bottom time. So it is your actual bottom time, but not really. Your actual bottom time should not exceed this number. So let's say that we really want to do a 90-foot dive again. What is our absolute limit of dive time? For what? 4 minutes. So that means we get our tanks, we gear up, we jump in the water, we go down, and what's our limit? No. You don't get 4 minutes at depth. You get 4 minutes for your whole dive. So you have to be down and back up. Safety stop, appropriate ascension measures, everything, that's 4 minutes. You know what we call that? We call that a bounce. That's literally a bounce in scuba diving. We call that a bounce. You're literally just like bouncing. Not cool. So this is your absolute limit, right? This is why we do our deepest dive first. because the theory is, and this is supported by the physics, you guys want to do the deepest dive that's going to give your bodies the most nitrogen absorption first. Computers have bore that out pretty much accurately. It's changing slightly, but not really. So, residual nitrogen time is 21, right? Okay, so even if we did no surface interval at all whatsoever, right? Could we do a 60-foot dive for 30 minutes? Yes or no? Could we do a 60-foot dive for 30 minutes?
Yes.
Could we?
Yes.
Okay, really? So 21 is our residual nitrogen time, right? Let's go to 60 feet. And for our residual nitrogen time is 21. And our actual bottom time is 30 minutes. What's our total bottom time? What's our total bottom time? 51 minutes, which would put us in pressure group what? 60 feet, 51 minutes. Put us in pressure group U. Are we in decompression yet? Are we in decompression yet? We're not in decompression yet.
No, the maximum is 55 minutes.
The maximum of what?
Never mind.
Okay. Decompression would be like 80 minutes. That would be like your absolute max. Are we in decompression yet? Is this a smart idea? How many of you guys would do this dive with me? Come on, you trust me. I'm K-Star. I'm your instructor. I'm a great diver. I have over 1,000 dives. Come on, come diving with me. No? And you guys are looking at me very suspiciously. I don't like this. You guys aren't coming diving with me? Okay, cool. So what pressure group do we feel safe being in on the way down? U is clearly not it, right? U is clearly not it. So what pressure group do we feel safe being in? Neil, what pressure group do you feel safe being in? No pressure. Ha ha ha. Pick a letter. C? You want to be all the way up here? Yeah. Okay, cool. So Neil feels safe being in C, right? All right, excellent. So now Neil, you need to tell me how much time we need to stay out of the water in order to be in pressure group C. So you want to get from M to C. How do we do that? Everybody help Neil. How do we get from M to C? Etienne, not a good face. How do we get from M to C? So remember, we're in M. Yes. Everybody's gonna tell me how long. So we're in M, right? Let's go over. So M. So if we waited 4 minutes, we would still be in M, right?
Yeah.
Let's go all the way over to C.
1 hour.
How long do we have to wait?
An hour and 5 minutes
To an hour and 25 minutes, right? I hope y'all got some good music, because we're waiting on the boat for at least an hour and 5 minutes, right? And then we will be in pressure group C. And we will feel much safer going in the water in pressure group C, right? So let's do this math. Can't believe you guys don't trust me. What's up, Chris?
Where do we see the hour 5 minutes?
All right. So this entire side is your out of water off-gassing times, because your body is physically off-gassing that nitrogen. So at M, right, you go literally all the way over. So this is 4 minutes, right? So you want to go all the way over to C, and C you have the ratio of 1 hour and 5 minutes to 1 hour and 25 minutes. And you see that C? If Neil had wanted to go all the way to A, it would be 2 hours and 10 minutes, you follow? Now remember, we are trying to get, because, you know, diving is money, the most bang for our buck. We're trying to spend as small amount, the shortest amount of surface interval. Because listen, I'm on vacation, it's Fiji, I want to go hike a volcano and get drunk and, like, you know, hang out with some locals. I'm trying to be on a dive boat all day. 2 dives, that's like my max. Maybe 4. How do I figure out how to maximize that? This is how I figure out how to maximize that, yeah? Okay, cool. So, hour 5 minutes, we're C. I want you guys to tell me what pressure group we're in on the other side. How do we do that? How do we do that? We're doing a 60-foot dive for 30 minutes. So what do we have to figure out first? What do we have to figure out first? So we're in C, right? So we start out in C, and we are going to 60 feet, right? So we're going to 60 feet. So what's 60 and C? What's our square say?
14 over 41.
And tell me what the numbers are.
14 and
What's 41?
41 is the
41 is not just the actual bottom time. I want you guys to not think about it like that. 41 is what? If 41 is your no decompression limit. Listen, if you guys are doing this dive profile with me and something goes wrong and we are underwater, what's our absolute max for something happening and us getting back to the surface? 41 minutes. Or what's going to happen? Are we automatically going to seize up and die?
No.
No, but we will be in what?
Pain.
We will be in decompression, which means we will now be subject to different tables. I guarantee you, it means we will all be visiting a recompression chamber, which involves a hospital visit, a lot of paperwork, probably a helicopter ride, okay? And definitely ambulances, all right? Not cool. So 41 minutes is our no decompression limit. You guys are all learning how to do no decompression diving, yeah? Cool. 14 is what? Residual nitrogen time. So residual nitrogen time plus actual bottom time is?
45.
I want the vocabulary. Total bottom time, right? So our total bottom time is 44 minutes. Flip this sucker back over. 60 feet. 44 minutes. Where are we at? Pressure group R. Those of you guys that said L, not gonna call you out, but you are gonna get that wrong on an exam. Right? Pressure group R. Can we do a third dive? It's a really nice wall, guys. It's really cool. Can we do this again?
Yeah, it's just gotta be shorter.
It has to be, how much shorter?
Just shorter.
How much?
You gotta
Like
reduce,
what? Like listen, plan your dive and dive your plan. How much?
You gotta reduce the nitrogen level.
How much? It depends how long you stay at the surface. This is what this looks like, guys. Plan your dive and dive your plan, right? So this is not like we're just like, whatever, we're just gonna be at the surface for like 30 minutes, it's all good. Like, no, let's plan a dive. This is what this looks like, okay? What do we think? So let's say that we're going 45 feet. 20 minutes?
So G.
20 minutes. So, we need to figure out our surface interval. We need to figure out our pressure group.
So this pressure group is just what you want to be comfortable to dive in. Like last time it was fixed C, so that's how we found the surface interval.
Yes, well, okay, two things. One, on an exam, I may give you some of this information, right? So I may give you the surface interval and then have you figure out the pressure group, or I may give you the pressure group and have you figure out the surface interval. In real life, you don't have any of that information. So you have to figure out what your comfort level is and how conservative you want to be as you go diving, yeah?
And for the surface interval, like you're always going to get two numbers, so would you always choose the lower numbers? Or
It depends. It depends. It depends on how many days you've been diving. Let's say that you've been diving, this is your first day of diving versus like your fifth day of diving, right? It depends on your age. It depends on the conditions. Colder water is going to affect your nitrogen absorption. Fat affects your nitrogen absorption. How much you exercise affects your nitrogen absorption. There's actually a lot of science that indicates that if you go diving and you should not go strenuously work out immediately afterwards, because that will negatively affect your body's off-gassing process. So it depends on a lot of things. I always kind of try and like split the difference and go right in the middle. Yeah, but it depends on a lot of things with diving. Okay, all right, let's figure this out. So let's figure out if we do no surface interval, what this looks like. No surface interval, how do we figure this out? So we just did a 60-foot dive for 30 minutes. We're in R. No surface interval. We're now going 45 feet for 20 minutes. Right? So we're at 50 feet, right? We're at 50 feet and we're in R. So we're at 57 over 23. Everybody get that? Cool. So 57, right? So 57 plus 20 equals 77. Flip this over. 45, we go to 50, right? 77. Are we good?
Oh my god.
Can we go diving?
No.
You guys coming diving with me?
No. I ain't going over there.
You get a helicopter ride and ambulance too.
Shit, I ain't going over there.
So aggressive you guys are. All right, so we don't want to be in. So we don't want to be in X.
Nah.
Heard, loud and clear. What do we want to be in? What do we want to be in?
I like K.
Mariana, what do we want to be in? All right, we don't want to be an X. Fair enough. Listen, I'm listening. I get your feedback. I heard. What do we want to be in, Mariana? L. All right, let's get to L. Let's get to L. How do we get to L, guys?
From X, where we got
No. We're in R. We want to get to L before we do our dive.
we got a starway service interval.
What's our service interval? Let's figure out what our service interval should be to get us to L.
25 to 29 minutes.
25 to 29 minutes. Nice and short. Enough time to hydrate, get a little tan, talk about what we saw on our dive, switch over our gear, right? Put a little coconut oil in our hair. This is nice. 25 minutes. All right, not too bad. And we're in L. Okay, good. So what's our pressure group going to be on the way out? What's our pressure going to be on the way out? What's this going to look like? What's our total bottom time? What's our residual nitrogen time?
38 over 42.
So 38 over 42. Remind me again what the 42 is.
Decompression.
That is your absolute limit before you go into decompression, yeah? Okay, so 38 is our residual nitrogen time, right? Okay, so we have 38 plus 20, which gives us our total bottom time. What's our total bottom time? Basic math, 58. 58 minutes. What's our pressure group as we exit? 50 feet, right? 58 minutes. S. Are we good? We're good. Beautiful day of diving. What's up?
So, from the beginning, how did you get to R from 35 feet?
Okay, so from here, you mean?
Yeah, when you got this.
Okay, so the R is dependent on the dive that we did before, yeah? So everything here is preceding here. So the R is dependent on the time and the depth that you're at.
So it's not dependent on 20 minutes.
No, it's not dependent on 20 minutes. So we could literally stop diving here and the R would still stand, okay? So if, let's say at the R something happened during your dive, you're not diving again, right? Like, or let's say that like you only booked a 2-dive trip. You're not diving again, right? But this particular one, we had like a lot of money and we had a lot of time, so we did 3 dives. Does that make sense? Okay, so you guys are going to get, what's up?
So we say like the absolute limit that we could stay down there is 42 feet when we said the 38 over 42 before the decompression.
Okay, it's not a feet thing. It's a time thing, okay?
No, okay, so 42 minutes.
Yes.
Right, so 38 over 42, but we're doing 58 minutes dive. No?
Are we dead? Are we dead? We dead? We're in
We'll be
decom.
in decompression.
We're gonna be in decompression. So that is hospital and
Right.
decompression chamber.
Right, this is
Yes. Thank you for picking that up. I didn't notice that. Clearly I need more coffee.
my buddy.
That's your buddy? That's a good buddy to have, right? This is a bad dive. So one of the things you guys are going to do for homework is you guys are going to get another sheet of dive tables where you are going to have to figure out surface intervals, pressure groups, and depths. The other thing you are going to have to do is plan dive profiles, okay? And if you have any questions, you have to let me know, because this is the last time in class that we are doing dive tables together. I know, our time is rapidly coming to an end. I'm so sad, okay?
Thanksgiving next week.
Any question? No, next year. This is the last time we see you guys. No next year. There's no next year. Okay, any questions? Nope? We're all good? Excellent. All right, woo!